Hi, everybody. This is Tamara Childs with Ruth McCants for your weekly energy update. Hi, Ruth.
Good morning, Tamara.
Today is August the 10th, 2017. And, well, how's everybody doing out there in YouTube land? Because we've been talking about how we had a lunar eclipse in Aquarius on Monday, and things have been a little loony.
Truly, loony. That's right.
We've been talking about, not to mention the political tweets that are available. This is definitely a time when you're watching people around you kind of not crashing and burning, but there's just a lot of the less conscious people are, the more they're just sort of acting out of impulse, or something's acting through them. And so anyone watching, I don't know if you've had that kind of a week at work, or where you've noticed in traffic people are just sort of kittywampus. It's definitely been an interesting time. We are definitely still in this lunar energy, don't you think, Ruth? This lunar eclipse?
Well, you have to remember the lunar eclipse is going to be activated for at least a couple of 6 or 8 weeks. So that energy of what needs to be really looked at from the past, because that's really what we're seeing. It's the responses to things rising up. I always look at it. As a child, did you watch those movies where they had the what was it, the Black Lagoon, and the person, or the funny strange being who came out of the Black Lagoon, the rising up? Well, it's in that genre where, and now I understand, maybe the writers didn't even know, but they were writing about that inside, those subconscious messages and programs that we all carry around. But this lunar eclipse really has brought it to the surface. Things that people haven't really recognized about themselves suddenly comes to their conscious awareness.
Yes, very true. And one of the ways that the unconscious becomes conscious is through the body. So those of you watching who are noticing, there have been a lot of different cases that I've heard of just people not feeling well, or ailments coming up. And so sometimes when it's hard to have something become conscious, it will come through the body too. Have you noticed that? That happens to all of us.
I know of 2 extremely recent cases of body somatic language. It's called somatic language, when the body starts talking to us. I know of 2 right now.
Yes.
And 2 very close people that have had situations major with the body, because you don't focus. Always look at it like this. If the body's over here, the mind's over here, the spirit is attempting to give us information, but all of these parts are out of alignment, what happens?
Well, and so like some examples of this might be the need to set boundaries in a certain situation where something keeps running amok, and we're not setting the boundary, and then boom, suddenly we have a situation where we have to set the boundary. And another situation might be if you're just going and not listening to your need for quiet and integration, something can stop you from going too. I mean, there's so many different scenarios out there where, for example, there may be a situation in your life where your well-being keeps being trespassed upon or infiltrated. And so that can manifest as physical symptoms too, like headaches. And, I know for me as an empath, my head has been a very delicate part of my body system. And that's where I've gotten my somatic signals in the past, where, or present, where if something is coming into my my energetic system that doesn't feel right and it's kind of messing with my thinking process, I'll sometimes get that, a migraine.
Wow, that's a really important thing.
Yeah.
And it really, you make a major point, Tamara, in that each one of us, particularly physically, has a particular system
Yeah.
that intuitively speaks to us. And if we get little twinges in that particular bodily system,
Yes.
we then can, if we can then pause and say, okay, it's talking to me. I need to take some time to listen. But that's a really important point.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's tightness in the chest. Other times it's the throat closing up. Other times it's in the gut. If your gut is bothering you, and it's whatever body system it is, that's the place where a lot of people with their upper backs. There's in my psychic training, we talk about the backpack. And this is a place where people often carry the obligations of their lifetimes. And this is getting pretty esoteric right now, but and so often, like in a reading situation, maybe I'll look at what's going on behind the back, because the things behind our backs that's the places where we can have something sticking to us that we need to reevaluate. There's something, it's behind us. It's in back of us, in the back of our consciousness. And so even for those listening, if sometimes the issues are just aching behind the back or issues behind the back, sometimes there's something that needs to be cleansed from behind you. That you're less aware of, because it's not, like if somebody came up to you and just attached to your chest, you would say, hey, get off of me. But on the back, the back is a little, we have muscles back there. It's stronger. It's not as, we have the whole structure. So we're used to sometimes carrying things that we shouldn't be carrying anymore.
Well, I'm really, that's another part of this, because when this whole lunar full moon in particular, the lunar has to do with the past, but it is being informed by the present time. Mm-hmm. And if we get too caught up in what's going on around us right now, and we don't look at the back, because that's really interesting. The back is what we cannot see. I mean, we know we have our back. Other people can see our backs, but we can't see our own back. And when you spoke about the back, I'm also thinking about, people complain a lot about knee issues, not having a leg to stand on.
Yeah,
right. When that's another way that the body, when you feel yourself not being grounded in whatever it is that you're desiring, often it really is about what you want and what other people want, what they're wanting. And the knees, usually it's the knees, can be ankles, but that whole situation of hurting in that area is not having a leg to stand on. So if we...
I like that you said that. It's funny because someone just spoke to me about a leg injury. And again, we are having, I don't know, those of you listening have noticed either for yourself or people around you, but there are a lot of body things talking to us right now. And, I've been noticing, I don't know if this was last week, maybe this was last week, recently, just in traffic and, just near misses. And so it's stuff where I always feel like I bump into things physically when I'm not grounded. I'll just start sort of,
Yes.
and usually that's a signal to me that I need to slow down and, where am I in time and space? Why am I not focused right now? And I agree with you. I think this lunar eclipse is about things. I've been feeling like it's been about things that have already been put into motion, mm-hmm. that are showing up for us now. And that's not a negative thing. It's not something to be scared of, but it's something to be aware of, that eclipse is set in motion, you know.
The eclipse is a messenger. It's not, it's not good, it's not bad. It's a messenger for each one of us to recognize where things need to be, where we need to listen and where we need to pay attention, and pay attention from the inside and ask the question, what is it that I need? What is it that I'm really, because in order to, because everybody's having real fun with the upcoming solar eclipse, but you can't really enjoy and truly get your heart into things if you don't pay attention to what has gone on and release, because the big word with this lunar eclipse is being willing to release things, that because sometimes we hold on to things so dearly, you know, what somebody else is, how somebody else is looking at us, or they're not acknowledging us, or why can't they see me? Well, we might have to just let go of what those others are doing and saying.
Very, very true. I mean, it's interesting, and just even it's not too late, I think, to remind our viewers, Ruth, that if there's something, first of all, what I love about eclipses is they make something very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
this thing that comes up in front of you, and you're like, oh, I don't want to look at this. And then you look at it, and it has a message. And I love what you just said, though, because I feel that's very relevant to the times right now. We can stubbornly hold on to a perspective that we want this to happen through these people or this situation, and why isn't it happening this way that I want it? And one of the most, what the eclipse is calling us to is to just release that stubborn point of view that it has to be a certain way. Maybe it doesn't have to be that way, or maybe you can make it that way for yourself, but it's only we can let go. We have to let go and be willing.
And as you're saying that, I'm thinking of the political situation and everybody's, the way people separate from each other. You know, we have some global issues that need addressing of all kinds. But when this group over here, you know, this partisan group and that one says, no, I gotta have it my way, and nothing gets done. The eclipse also applies to the collective. You know, we're talking a little bit more personally here, but it applies to us as a collective body on this planet together. I used to teach a class, and I would ask my students, I would show, there's a picture taken by a satellite of the whole planet, and I used to put it big on a screen. And I said, is anybody getting off of this? Is anybody leaving? And we all would go, no. Nobody's going to Mars. We haven't got any transport to Mars or Venus yet. But nobody's getting off the planet right now.
Yeah, and so we have to live with, you know, we're splashing around in the same swimming pool with a bunch of different people, and some of those people are a little bit rowdy and a little bit...
I like that, a little bit rowdy. I like that, a little bit rowdy.
Splashing me over here. You're getting a little too rowdy. Shut up. You know, but it's, you know, and it really reminds me of going to camp and being at the pool, and there's someone over there, but you know, it's like you can't leave because the camp counselor's like, okay, we're all at the pool for right now, so play nice. And you can't leave. And there's a kid over there doing whatever, cannonballs or whatever that is into the pool and splashing people and messing up the girl's hair. And you gotta just, this is really about keeping our eyes in our own lane. And like you said, this is a lunar event that we're all still feeling this loony energy and this lunar energy. And it's really about just focusing up on the personal message that this eclipse has for each of us right now. And yet there are some people acting crazy over here, but you know, and they are sharing the same pool. We are getting some water splashed on our faces, but on another level, they are a part of us. We're all
And that's right. On this magnificent planet
yeah.
that we are a part of. And you really get to the point, Tamara, when you say that each one of us, if we accept whatever we can be and do individually, we can make a change. Because we often think, well, I can't do anything, I can't make a difference, but that's not true. Because I think in one of our previous sessions, we talked about sovereignty, being sovereign within oneself, and that still applies. Clean up stuff, let it go, and be one's own sovereign power.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's so many thoughts racing through my head right now because, you know, on the radio show, which just to let people know, it is on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific. And usually many of the people who might watch this are listening to the show and all of that. But our topic is power, and sovereignty, you know, is part of power because, you know, there's such a tendency right now in the world, Ruth, for us to feel distress at the things we see out there. And I feel like I say this over and over again, that we're distressed what the other person's doing. That person that just sent us that email that was really off balance and we have to deal with and come back from a centered place toward that email. We want them to stop being so off-center and crazy, and we want the world to stop being so crazy. But the world is in its own evolutionary cycle, and so is everybody, and as well as ourselves. And so it's not really about stopping the other guy from being how they're being. It's what can we do with our energy as consciousness to move, you know, to turn the dial over there. Just reach over and turn the dial the way that we want to see it. And there's such a temptation to be in reaction right now and to be at the effect of things that we see rather than generating from within our own conscious evolutionary cycle. You know, what do we want? How do we turn the wheel?
I love the message that Esther with Abraham, the channeled
Abraham Hicks.
being, and when they speak about your own point of focus, we only receive where our point of focus happens to be. And if our point of focus is on, I want to be the best me in this moment, that's what's going to happen, as opposed to having a point of focus out there, as you just pointed out, on someone else. Be me.
And there's a huge temptation. The world right now is set up to tempt us to be completely out of our bodies and glued
That's right.
to the screen and watching what other people are doing.
That's right.
About it. And we cannot do that. We must let go of that temptation and instead go within and create from within what we wish to see happening. And this is mastery. It's not easy. And I think with the eclipses are really saying, what do you want to master right now?
That's right. I would say the first part of the mastery is to agree with oneself to let go of things that are counterproductive and that don't serve you well anymore. Because only with the solar eclipse can you begin to envision your own heart's desire. There cannot be, because since this is in Leo, since we got it's been 2 times that we've had this Leo new moon coming up. That's a major message. The universe, the cosmos, whatever you want to call it, is saying, pay attention. You get it twice here now.
Yeah. Like you said, because Leo's about the heart. So we must focus forward, not on what's breaking our hearts in the world that we don't want to see. Like, I don't want this. It's what do you want to see, and then begin to create from the consciousness of what that. Ruth, let's do our card reading for everybody.
Yeah.
Next for this week. Do you want me to start? Would you like to start? Do you want to
Oh,
surprise?
okay. I got a very interesting reading. I'm using the Aboriginal Spirit Oracle,
Hmm.
and I've got three cards that are actually giving us real hope. First one is accomplishment.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say the accomplishment, if we're willing to release,
Yes.
just totally release things that, like I said, that aren't in, in our best interest anymore. That will help to release the accomplishment. I mean, to bring forth the accomplishment.
Mhm.
Here's another one. And it will enable us to tap into our inner wealth, which will then help us to generate our external wealth.
I love
Because
art.
because we can only be wealthy from the inside out. We think, again, don't look out there and say, why can't they give me what I no, look inside. So that's the wealth. And then the other one, this is a very much an Aquarian card, is the friendship. Once we're able to open ourselves and be with like-minded people, let go of holding on to our own, say, I have to do it, I have to have it that way, and they have to do it this way. Because if we get with like-minded people and we can agree with each other, tremendous things can happen and make life much better for all of us. So those are my three cards.
Oh, those are wonderful. Well, it's interesting. And again, I was a little focused on the chaos or this week, um, just like a lot of people watching. And so I was interested to ask, for the good of all, what the cards are for this week. And I got the Nine of Cups.
Okay. Yep.
And this is the wish card for those of you watching who aren't familiar with tarot. And it's interesting because it really goes with the accomplishment card, which is a cup.
And the friendship card.
And friendship
Yeah,
card.
yeah.
So we're getting some cups here, guys.
Yeah.
So what this tells me is to really do focus on your heart's desire right now. The second card I got is the Ace of Discs, planting the seed for future growth.
That's right. Well, here's the wealth. Here we are.
I know.
Here we are.
Amazing.
Yeah. Amazing.
I love the synchronicity that we. It's great. And in order so there is a dream coming into focus, people, and it is your responsibility to know what's in your heart and to begin to just plant the seed or notice the seeds of that. And in order to do that, the third card I got is this Queen of Swords, cutting away distraction.
Yes.
Really, oh my goodness, if the one message we could have this week, it's don't bother with all the nonsense you see out there. Just focus on this and use the sword with discernment. Just cut away. It's so funny, Ruth, because in my yard I have this thing called bindweed. And it's also called morning glory, but it's certainly
I know morning glory, but I didn't know it was called the other.
And I've got out there, and it wraps like a snake around.
Yes.
It chokes out everything. And I was out there, and I just got some scissors. This is the second time I've done it lately. And I had to rip that stuff out, and I just did it with intention. That is the Queen of Swords, is rip the bindweed.
That's right.
Garden.
I think that's a very powerful metaphor. Rip that, because, and the other thing, with our own inner work, is to actually look at those things that need to pass away and thank them for being a lesson.
Oh, yeah.
Thank them for being a message.
Yes.
Whatever area of your life, whether it's relationships, career, wherever it happens to be, look at that material that needs to be released, but look at it, and because I'm personally, I do that. I look at things that have been in my life. They may have been at a certain age even. And if it's say, for instance, if it's our inner child that's been kicking up, you just are just having a real difficult time knowing what you want. because that's part of
Yeah.
being willing to release that feeling of, I'm going to use the real word, victimization. Lots of people, that's the big word. But it's really important to look and say, why did I respond to certain situations with that victim kind of expression, emotional? But look at yourself and say, you served me well. And now it's time for us to transform and transition to that part of the self, because when really talking about parts of ourselves.
Yeah, and again, it takes some, well, so let me just say that I recently in the last couple of weeks got this, had this difficult email exchange where there was some attack energy coming, and I had to look at that dispassionately. So I had to look at it and I had to say, okay, this isn't so unusual from how I at times attack myself in my own psyche, the way that we slap ourselves a little bit. And I had to deliberately only respond to the positive, because I said, what do I want out of this? Well, I would like a positive energy to come from this. So I just have to flip it that way by ignoring the negativity that always comes from, wherever it's coming
Mm-hmm.
from. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, it's not ours until we grab hold of it and say,
Right, absolutely.
well, operate from this energy. You don't have to do that. And so right now our psyches are really letting go of the negativity we have toward ourselves. And sometimes that's expressed through other people.
And it's what you just said, I want to emphasize the fact that negative, positive, energy is energy.
Yeah.
And we are the common denominator in terms of transforming that energy and being able to use it.
Yeah.
If anger is an energy that comes up, it can be transformed to propel you into something. If you have something you want to accomplish, here we got an accomplishing card. Well, take that anger and really face it and say, what is it that I really want to accomplish?
Yeah.
And use that energy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, this is a complex conversation, and it is our weekly energy update, and it is time. Our alarm went off, so we've gone a little longer today, and that's okay because it's a lunar eclipse week, and we want to really support you, you who are choosing to watch this. And even if you see it in the future, this may ding some bells in the next few weeks about what this week has been like for you, because we're all in the same energy together. It's just expressing in different ways and different facets. We've got different bullies, jumping into the pool and splashing us, and we're thinking, hey, quit it. So, Ruth, how can people reach you? I always like it if you just say where they can reach you and what you have coming up.
Well, you can reach me at soulsoundinsights.com. And one of the things that I just posted is a lunar tips. That's on my website.
Oh, yeah.
And that's an MP3 that I make. And I really have talked a bit more about the moon cycle and this lunar eclipse. And so they can go over there and sit back for about 14 minutes and listen to lunar tips.
You have wonderful offerings, and you also do your Soul Sound Insight sessions.
Yes.
And so I highly recommend them. And the lunar tips, I'm gonna, after we're done here, I'll go over and listen in, because I want to hear what you have to say. And I'd also like to invite everyone to the radio show that I do on Fridays, 12radio.com. This week I have Mo Abdelbaki, who is a tarot master, and he's a Vedic astrologer, and some of you know and love him and have heard him. He's been a guest before. He's such a erudite person, very well read, and he has such an amazing mind for myth and looking at the bigger picture, and also just bringing things down to basics, because right now there's a lot of psychic smog in the air, and we have to clear out that energy to really hear what we need. We're here for a reason. And
right, absolutely.
and
It's a daily clearing.
oh, it is. It's a daily clearing, and we
Mhm.
all have our ways of doing that. So sometime we'll have to bring the drums on, don't you think?
Oh, I love to bring the drums because I actually had my soul sound session on Monday, and I was able to avail myself because I'm in Pacific time at 11:11, and I played the drum at 11:11
Oh my
to
God.
signal that energy.
We
But
all,
yes, we will. I will bring the drums next time.
okay. Well,
Maybe next week we can start our session with the drum.
yeah, maybe next week we'll start with the drums,
Yeah.
because we can do anything we want
Mhm.
on this show. So thank you, all of you in YouTube land. If you are watching this, please do subscribe to the channel if you like what you're getting here, and share it, of course. And we will see you next week, and have a wonderful week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.